Ives from 2 bars before H.
The Leicestershire School's Symphony Orchestra, one of the most outstanding groups of young musicians in the country.
Listen A, please, from piano. Good A now.
In the past year, they've played in London and Vienna, made a gramophone record, and even had their own festival in Leicester. The emphasis is very much on modern music, and in this they've been greatly helped by their patron, Sir Michael Tippett, who frequently conducts the orchestra.
Well, take the Ives then from 2 Ives from 2 bars before H. This gentle, quiet sound, okay, as quiet as you can get at the start. And let the solo flute come forward, go.
Putnam's Camp, from the suite 3 Places in New England by Charles Ives.
Now, the child is going to sleep and dreaming before the trumpets and all the army come over the hill, okay? So this is a much dreamier sound, from lighter strings, little bit more flute, little bit more oboe to solo. And then this chunk, chunk, chunk is the army gradually appearing, and that trumpet just playing a tiny bit with the grenadiers. So let's have it again now, and start as gently as you can in a really dreaming sound. She's falling asleep, go. Ooh. There's no other country, except perhaps Canada, in which there is this fantastic activity in state schools, where the whole thing is sort of singing and burgeoning with a sort of sound. And this is not only making musicians, some, I mean the top cream who will go to be professional musicians or go into musicology even, or whatever, teaching, but the others who will go into offices or to factories or whatever, but who want to play, you see. Well, what the hell, if somebody wants to play here and hundreds of people want to play, why shouldn't I go and play with them? Look, you must try and get disentangle some of the tunes to come together. So let's have it once. Let's have a trumpet, please. Let a trumpet at O. Hear exactly what I really want to come flying out right above the other. The Grenadier tune, which that army alone play, the Army of Independence. Okay, go. Yum. Now, that must be heard by everybody, you see. But don't knock the other one down. Let's have piano, top strings, please, 2 violins and piano. The other tune, which means we come against it but not overwhelm it. Go. Yeah. Okay. Now, you see, now just let the trumpet ride on the whole on top of that. So let's go back a wee bit till it comes in. Let's go from letter N, where the whole full army band is there. Right, go.
Later in the year, Tippett and the orchestra are going to Berlin. But this month, they're playing in Bath, at the festival of which Tippett has himself recently been appointed director.
I live very near Bath, you see, and therefore I'm very close to the what should I say, the actual problems that exist in the district. And when it was clear that there needed to be a new start, and we wanted, after 10 years, a certain kind of festival, wanted a change, I was willing to do this when I was quite suddenly asked, I was abroad at the time the whole thing happened, I certainly asked if I would do it in conjunction or cooperation with Colin Davis, who's, for example, who is in that sense the artist, as the active artist altogether, and with Jack Phipps as an impresario. The whole thing took immediately in that moment the possibility of being a quite seriously possible venture.
To be specific, what kind of a festival do you want Bath to be?
It must reflect, as it seems to me, what goes on in English provincial musical life. And I do not mean by in provincial anything derogatory whatsoever. I live outside London, I always have. To me, the vitality of the artistic life of our country outside the metropolis is different and very, very exciting. And so that everything has to be there, whether it's not only purely international-minded concerts. There has to be a relation to what's done in the around, both in education, both in amateur world, pop world, jazz world, whatever you like, but that if you're going to do it, you should stand on your festival toes.
One of the biggest changes is that you've decided to drop opera. Now, there's no opera in Bath at other times of the year, is there?
There can't be, you see. This is a difficulty. Bath hasn't got an opera house. It has only a small theatre, which limits the operatic field to a very small range of well-known Mozart operas, and nothing beyond that at all. Colin Davis is not the slightest bit interested in doing that. Therefore, it's not done. And because it's very expensive to do any kind of opera in a theatre holding such a tiny number of people, that every time you step on the stage, £1,000 goes down. It's not there. Bath is a very well-run festival on a minute budget.
Is there going to be a fringe, and is it outside your control, or are you supervising everything?
The fringe we find a fascinating side of it. There is a great deal of fringe on Bath. Beforehand, it was rather regarded as we thought, rather the Bath people too, I think, regarded as too much of a fringe. It didn't come in London's connotations, you see. Well, now all the fringe things are printed in the brochure and everything as though they were alike. And I had a very interesting remark made me by a West German radio man here, who's a political correspondent, with whom I spoke one time, and he said to me, this sort of brochure which you printed in Bath would not possibly exist in Germany, because Germans are still tied to an extraordinarily literal sense of what music is. Music is only sitting in a concertina and a bonhomie and hearing us almost standard classics. And the process that in the brochure you can see where you can have potluck good food, or whether you can have a whole 20 hours of jazz, and you can go, so to speak, straight from, if you wish to, go straight from Beethoven's Missa Solemnis with Giulini to a recreation ground where there are 5 pop bands. Now, you needn't do it. But this does correspond to some sense of activity and vitality, in which our festival is not only a festival in that sense, but it's a festivity, okay?
You're conducting the Leicestershire School's orchestra at the festival. Is there any way in which working with these children has influenced you?
They've given me a marvellous sense of the activity of my country in music, and a feeling that God knows we've seen it come over a long period. I was in Germany I only came back last night from Germany, as it were, and I find that for the first time it's absolutely clear to them that this country of ours is abounding in music. Not only because London is so exciting, but they know these children go abroad. They see what's going to happen. They know that this is so. Well, this is where I belong. That is why they help me, a feeling of confidence that music is a reality within a central tradition of our lives. My one concern about very avant-gardist music is that it's going into a private world, you see, and that it doesn't any longer have this width and doesn't stand for all the functions of the human heart, and that is fundamental.
You've also written a new piece for them this year.
I've been trying to write a piece in the sense that I'm now old enough not to be able to give a lot of my time to occasional pieces, because my job is certainly not to do that. But in their case, I've wanted to accumulate, if I can, a 5-suite set of 5 pieces, which will be interesting. Therefore, I have, in point of fact, been able to add one. I just finished an opera myself, my own opera, and I've now been able to add another piece to this set that will be produced for the first time in Bath. In fact, in point of fact, I've heard it in rehearsal today for the first time, and it's fascinating and amusing, because it has some of these vitalities which they have.